Cole Harrington hadn't slept, not even for minutes. He stayed in the dim cavern of his father's office long after Amelia left, long after the building emptied, long after his sister's warnings faded into the fluorescent hum. Dawn found him exactly as midnight had, leaning over the correspondence box, fingers pressed to the lid like he was holding shut something with teeth. The letters were still inside, sealed, addressed to Marianne Bennett. 20 years of them. He could feel the weight of each one through the wood, like tiny ghosts pressing their palms to the surface. He couldn't open them. Not yet. Not alone. When Amelia walked into the office that morning, Cole looked up slowly, as if adjusting to a new light. "You're early," he said. "No," she said. "You just haven't stopped." He realized then that she saw him, not the facade, not the billionaire frame, but the man cracked open by truths he couldn't outrun. It unsettled him more than the letters. He slid a document toward her. "This came in at 3 a.m. Amelia glanced down. A list of hospital record access logs. 2 names. One she didn't recognize. The other burned. "Elena," she whispered. "Why would your sister access my mother's file?" He didn't blink. "Because I asked her to." "What for?" "To see whether she knew something and wasn't telling me." "You're testing your own family." He gave a hollow half laugh. "My family tests people for sport." He looked at her, really looked. "But you already knew that." Amelia didn't respond. She couldn't. Not while her mother's face kept flashing in her mind, caught forever in that photograph with Cole's father. A grief she had never understood until now. She sat. He sat across from her. They bent over the table like adversaries forced into collaboration. He handed her the board's proposed marriage contract. Amelia read the first 3 lines and felt bile rise. "They want me to be a prop. They want me to be predictable," Cole said. "A married heir is easier to control." "And you think marrying me fixes that?" she asked. "I think pretending we're aligned buys us time." She looked at him sharply. "Pretending?" He held her gaze. "No contract means they use pressure. Pressure means they dig. Digging means they find the pieces before we do." She set the papers down. "I'm not marrying you today. I'm not asking you to." His voice was low, measured. "I'm asking you to help me stop them from deciding the truth before we know it." There it was. The difference. He wasn't asking for compliance. He was asking for partnership. "Draft your own terms," Cole said. "Every clause, every condition. You set the rules this time." Amelia studied him. "People like you don't give up control." "That's exactly why you have to take it," he murmured. Before she could answer, Elena rushed in. She looked sharper than yesterday, like someone who had not slept but had made decisions instead of mistakes. "They're moving fast," she said. "The press has a story ready to publish." "About what?" Cole asked, though the dread was already in his voice. "About your father. About her." Elena's eyes flicked to Amelia. "Someone leaked a hospital video." Amelia felt her body go cold. "What video?" Elena's hands shook slightly as she pulled the tablet from her bag. "I'm warning you," she whispered. "It's worse than the photograph." The footage was grainy, recorded long before digital cameras were common. A hospital hallway flickered into view. Marianne Bennett appeared first, eyes red, hands trembling. Then a second figure stepped beside her. Cole's father, not touching her, not comforting her, just watching her like someone bracing himself for impact. Then Marianne pressed something into his hands. A folded form. She wiped her face. She stepped away. He didn't follow. The video ended abruptly. "They're going to spin it as an affair," Elena said, "or a cover-up, or both." "It wasn't either," Amelia murmured. "They don't care what it was," Cole said. "They care how it looks." The tablet buzzed again. A notification flashed. A headline went live. Harrington legacy tied to death of infant girl sources. Claim cover-up involved 2 families. Amelia felt the world tilt. Elena. Cole's voice was dangerously calm. Who fed them this? We don't know yet. But you have a guess. Elena hesitated. Silas. Of course it was him. Amelia's fingers curled. Why would he release this now? Because chaos forces choices, Cole said. And he wants ours rushed. Amelia swallowed. What do we do? He leaned forward. We find out what happened that night before Silas weaponizes another piece of it. How? We start where everything was buried. The hospital storage archive. He didn't wait for her agreement. He trusted she would follow. She did. The archival wing smelled of damp cardboard and old secrets. A maintenance worker led them through aisles of forgotten files, uneasy from the moment they arrived. This box shouldn't even be here, he muttered. Someone tried to dispose of it 2 nights ago. Someone else blocked it. Blocked it how? Cole asked. Internal override code. Old one. Belonged to... The man squinted. Your father, I think. Amelia and Cole exchanged a look. The worker set the box on a table. After he left, Amelia opened it. Her hand stopped on a smaller envelope inside. Her name. Typed. Clean. Wrong. She opened it. The message wasn't neat, not this time. Handwriting jagged, rushed, almost shaking. You're searching in the wrong grave. The truth isn't in what they did. It's what they tried to stop. A second line beneath it. You were never supposed to survive that night. Her breath shattered. Cole caught her elbow. Amelia. No, she whispered, stepping back. No. What does that mean? He looked at the letter again. Slowly, carefully. This handwriting, he said, isn't Silas's. How do you know? Because the person who wrote this was terrified. He folded the note. Silas is many things. Terrified isn't one of them. Amelia pressed a hand to her mouth. Cole, someone thinks I was in danger before I was even born. Or, he said quietly, someone wants you to believe that. She stared at him. I don't know which is worse. Neither did he. They left the archive room in stunned silence. But silence didn't follow them. It rushed ahead, down the hall, through the elevator, back into the tower, straight into Elena's arms. She waited for them at the door, clutching something small. Wooden. Old. I opened it, she whispered. Cole froze. Opened what? Elena held out the small carved box, the correspondence box he hadn't touched yet. The lid was cracked open. You didn't have to, Cole said, voice fraying. I did, Elena whispered. Because you needed the truth before it drowned you. She handed it to him. Cole looked inside. Amelia stepped closer. Her heart stopped. Envelopes, all addressed to her mother, decades of them. Elena closed her eyes. They weren't love letters. Cole pulled one out with trembling fingers. They were confessions. Amelia steadied herself on the desk. He opened the first letter and began to read. Cole didn't realize his hands were shaking until the letter fluttered slightly. He steadied it, inhaled once, then read aloud. Not because Amelia needed to hear it from him, but because he needed to finally hear the words his father wrote to a woman he never once acknowledged in public. Marianne, you said the truth would destroy us both. Maybe it already has. I can still see the look in your eyes when you told me she wouldn't wake. I still hear the words you couldn't finish. I will carry them until someone else is strong enough to learn them. Amelia closed her eyes. The room swayed. When she opened them again, Cole was already unfolding another letter. He didn't ask permission. He couldn't. Not with his voice unsteady like that. I signed the papers because you begged me to. You were terrified of what they'd do to you. Terrified of what you'd do to yourself. You said you couldn't live with the truth and still raise the child you already had. I believed you. God help me. I believed you. Cole swallowed, the muscles in his jaw tightening. She already had a child, Amelia whispered. That wasn't me. No, Cole said, barely able to form the word. He didn't open the third letter. Amelia did. Her fingers brushed the paper like it was skin. I saw the report. I will not let them bury it. She was a child. She deserves better than silence. Marianne, if you disappear this time, if you run again, I won't be able to protect you. Or the truth. Run again, Amelia murmured. She ran once before? Elena pinched the bridge of her nose. Your mother disappeared for 2 days after the event. Came back, hollow. No one talked about it. My aunt said she was sick, Amelia whispered. Sick, not gone. Elena looked at her gently. Honey, sometimes families rename pain until it sounds small enough to carry. Cole didn't say anything. He wasn't breathing deeply enough to speak. The fourth letter slipped from Amelia's fingers before she could unfold it. She caught it, hands trembling. This one was heavier, older. The ink is uneven. If the truth reaches her, she will hate me. But I would rather she hate me and live than forgive me and die. A tear slipped off Amelia's jaw before she knew it was there. Cole steadied her with a hand hovering near her arm, not touching her, but letting her feel the presence. The choice. The restraint. Neither spoke. She opened the final letter in the box. It wasn't addressed to Marianne. It was addressed to Amelia. Her breath hitched. She unfolded it slowly, the paper soft from years of handling. Amelia, you weren't meant to carry this. But if you are reading this, it means the truth has finally found you. Your mother begged me to protect you from the people who took your sister. She begged me to bury what happened that night because she could not bear to lose you too. If the truth finds you, remember this. You were not the mistake. But you were never the target. The letter slipped from her hand. For a moment, Amelia didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't exist. Cole picked up the letter and read the bottom line in silence. Then he read it aloud, voice breaking for the first time. The ones who hurt her were never strangers. They were Harringtons. The words dropped like wet stone. Elena covered her mouth. Cole closed his eyes. Amelia felt something inside her crack in a way that didn't heal with time. It changed shape. My family, Cole whispered, played a part in your sister's death. Amelia backed away from him. Not in fear, in devastation. You knew, she said, voice trembling. Some part of you knew before you ever opened that box. He didn't deny it. How could I trust you? She whispered. After this, after all of this, how could I ever trust anything you say? You shouldn't, Cole said quietly. The honesty stung more than any lie. But, he added, meeting her eyes with something raw and unguarded, I'm still going to help you, not for the contract, not for the board, because no one protected the truth for your mother, and I refuse to repeat that history. Amelia wiped her cheek, angry at the tear she'd let fall. You're not responsible for your parents, Cole said. And you're not responsible for yours, she fired back. But here we are. Before either could say more, the elevator chimed. Elena stiffened. A figure stepped out. Silas. He didn't smirk. He didn't threaten. He didn't posture. He looked tired. And dangerous in a way that didn't require volume. You've read the letters, he said. Cole stood between him and Amelia in a single instinctive movement. Not dominance, not claim, defense. Silas's gaze moved to Amelia. You want the truth? He said softly. Then stop chasing ghosts. The answer you're looking for isn't in the pieces your parents left behind. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. It's in the person who survived. Amelia stared at him. My sister. Silas nodded once. Not dramatically. Not theatrically. Just once. Eve Bennett, he said, voice flat with certainty, is alive. The letters on the desk, the grief, the apologies, the secrets, they all fell away in one suspended breath. Elena whispered, That's impossible. Silas held Amelia's gaze. No, he said. What's impossible is what they did to keep it from you. Amelia's heartbeat pounded so hard she thought it might break her ribs. If she's alive, she said, barely breathing. Where is she? Silas took a step back, toward the elevator. You're asking the wrong question. He pressed the button. The doors opened. He stepped inside. Ask instead, he said, eyes locked on hers. Why now? The doors slid shut. Amelia's pulse roared in her ears. Cole's voice broke the silence. We find her, he said. But he didn't sound certain. He sounded afraid. Cole didn't move for several seconds after Silas disappeared behind the elevator doors. It was the kind of stillness a person learns to hold when shock becomes too familiar, when pain stops surprising you. Amelia didn't have that stillness. She paced, sharp, small steps, as if the letters under her skin were burning through her. Eve is alive, she whispered to herself, as though trying to force the words into reality. My sister. Alive. After all this time. There's no proof yet, Elena said quietly. There's no proof she's dead, Amelia snapped back, then caught herself. I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize, Elena said gently. Nothing about this is normal, Amelia finished for her. Nothing about this is anything. Cole seemed to wake then. Silas never gives information without motive. If he wanted to destabilize us, he already did that with the press leak. This was different. How? Amelia asked. He didn't give us a threat, Cole said. He gave us a direction. But why? Elena asked. Why point us toward Eve now? Why not hide her forever? Cole met Amelia's eyes. Because someone else is looking for her too. The chill that ran down Amelia's spine was not metaphor. It was biological, instinctive, ancestral. What would they want with her? She whispered. Cole didn't answer. Couldn't. He didn't have enough truth to form a hypothesis that wouldn't destroy her. Instead, he picked up the last envelope in the correspondence box. The only one they hadn't opened yet. It wasn't addressed to Marianne, or to Amelia. It wasn't addressed at all. Cole unfolded it. There were only 4 words inside. Find the nurse first. That's it? Elena asked, incredulous. Cole nodded. That's it. Amelia felt the air thin. She was there that night, she said. She signed the form. She might have been the only person who saw everything before our parents arrived. She also disappeared the same year, Cole said. No forwarding address, no employment trail, nothing. Because she was hiding, Amelia murmured. Or because someone hid her, Elena said under her breath. The room locked onto silence again. Cole straightened. I'll have security trace every staff member from that wing. Cross-reference resignations, relocations, false IDs? No. Amelia stepped toward him. This can't be done through Harrington channels. If your father covered it, if your family has been keeping this buried, how do we know the same people aren't still watching everything that happens under your name? Cole didn't flinch. That's exactly why we use the channels I control, not the ones they do. And you're sure you can tell the difference? Amelia asked. For the first time, his composure cracked for real. No, he admitted. I'm not sure of anything. It wasn't weakness. It wasn't resignation. It was the most honest thing he had said all day. Amelia softened. Then we don't use your channels, or theirs. We find someone who was there. Someone who wasn't powerful. Someone who didn't have anything to gain from keeping silent. Elena understood before Cole did. "You mean the patients," she whispered. Amelia nodded. The long-term patients in that wing. The ones who couldn't leave. The ones who saw things they weren't supposed to. Cole paused, evaluating. Then he nodded slowly. "Not the staff," he murmured. "The people the staff forgot." Elena pulled up her tablet. There were 8 patients on that corridor that night. 2 discharged, 3 deceased. 1 moved states. "Who's left?" Amelia asked. Elena zoomed in. "1 name, only one." "Who?" Cole said. "A woman named Doris Hale." "Where is she now?" Elena hesitated. "A memory care home, outside the city." Amelia's chest tightened. "Memory care? You think she remembers anything?" "Trauma doesn't fade," Elena said. "It scars itself into the mind differently." Cole grabbed his coat. "We're going." Elena reached out and caught his arm, a move she'd never try unless she was afraid. "Cole," she said softly. "Before you go, there's something you need to see." He froze. "What?" She handed him another envelope. Not old, not yellowed. New. Crisp. "Where did you get this?" he asked. "It arrived this morning," she said. "Hand-delivered. No name." Cole opened it carefully. Inside was a single photograph. A little girl. Dark hair, serious eyes, a bruise on her cheek, a hospital bracelet on her wrist. Written at the bottom in the same jagged handwriting from the archive note were 4 words. "This is not Eve." Amelia felt her stomach knot. "Then who?" Cole turned the photo over. More handwritten text. "You're looking at the wrong child." Elena pressed her hand to her mouth. "What does that even mean?" she whispered. Cole's heartbeat pounded once, violently. "Either someone wants to confuse us," he said slowly. "Or," Amelia finished, voice faint, "there were 2 children." The breath went out of the room. Elena sank into a chair. Amelia felt dizzy. Cole stared at the photograph as if it were alive. "Who is she?" Amelia whispered. A knock sounded at the glass door. Not urgent, slow, deliberate. Everyone froze. The woman standing in the doorway wore a faded nurse's coat. Older now, hair grayed, hands trembling slightly, her eyes fixed on Amelia. "I heard you were looking for me," she said quietly. "Who are you?" Cole asked. She stepped into the room, closing the door behind her. "I'm the nurse," she said softly. Amelia's breath caught. The nurse nodded gently. "The one who signed every form the night your sister died." Cole stepped forward, jaw tight. "Then tell us. Did she die?" The nurse looked at Amelia with eyes full of something ancient and broken. "No," she whispered. "She didn't die." Amelia's heart jumped painfully. The nurse continued, voice cracking. "But she wasn't the only one brought into that hospital that night." A silence so pure and horrifying filled the room that even the air seemed to still. Amelia swallowed. "You mean another child?" The nurse nodded. "A second newborn," she whispered. "Someone else's baby." Cole's pulse hammered. "Whose?" The nurse looked directly at him. "Your mother's." Cole took a single step back, as if the floor beneath him had disappeared. Elena stared, pale. Amelia covered her mouth. The nurse whispered the final blow. There weren't 2 families in that room that night. She looked between them. There were 3. For a moment, no one in the room breathed. 3 families, 3 babies. 1 night. Cole's voice was the first to break the air, but it cracked under its own weight. "Explain," he said. The nurse didn't stand tall. She didn't speak like someone giving information. She spoke like someone digging up her own grave. "I was young," she whispered. "Too young to understand the consequences of obedience. I did what the senior physician told me to. I kept my head down. I learned fast that in the Harrington world, Silence was rewarded with survival. Amelia stepped closer, trembling. My mother brought Eve in that night. She was alive? She was, the nurse said. Barely, but alive. Amelia pressed a shaking hand to her chest. Relief came in a violent, painful wave. But there was another child, the nurse continued. A newborn was delivered just hours earlier. A baby boy. He was premature, weak. Your mother, she nodded toward Cole, was sedated. She never saw him. Cole's throat closed. My mother had another child? The nurse nodded. Yes, a son. You had a brother, Cole. Elena gasped and grabbed the edge of the table. But, the nurse whispered, he went missing before sunrise. Amelia's stomach twisted. Missing? How does a newborn go missing from a hospital? The nurse shook her head. Security was breached. Papers were swapped. Rooms were mislabeled. I didn't realize what had happened until it was too late. Cole stared at her, jaw tight, fists clenched. Why would anyone take my brother? Before the nurse could answer, Amelia said quietly, Maybe he wasn't the target. The room trembled with implications. Cole turned slowly. Amelia, what do you mean? She swallowed, fighting the instinct to run from her own thought. What if the people who took a baby that night weren't trying to take your brother? She said softly. What if they were trying to take mine? The nurse's eyes filled with tears. That's exactly what happened. Cole's breath left him like a collapse. Amelia felt her knees weaken. No, someone tried to take me? The nurse hesitated. You weren't born yet, but they knew your mother was pregnant again. Someone wanted leverage over her. Someone wanted control. Or revenge. I don't know the reason. But when your mother arrived with Eve, someone else was waiting. Amelia steadied herself against the desk. The entire room tilted around her, not physically, morally. Cole forced his voice out. What does this have to do with my family? The nurse looked at him with nothing but sorrow. Your father stopped it. Cole froze. Stopped what? The kidnapping, she said. He arrived because someone warned him what was happening. He saved the wrong child. The wrong? Cole stepped forward, voice snapping. What do you mean the wrong child? Her voice broke as she answered. When he entered the nursery, the kidnapper fled. He grabbed the nearest newborn. He thought he'd saved your brother. But he'd saved the Bennett baby. Amelia's entire world narrowed to a pinpoint. Cole stared at her. Amelia stared back. Neither breathed. You were that baby, the nurse whispered. You, Amelia. The room spun. Amelia's lungs wouldn't work. The edges of her vision blurred. Cole whispered, No, that's not. Yes, the nurse said gently. You were born in chaos, switched in panic, protected by accident. Your mother didn't know you were missing because you were returned to her before sunrise, but your sister, Eve, was the one they used to cover the breach. Amelia's voice was barely sound. What happened to her? The nurse's eyes filled again. Someone took her. They staged her death so the hospital wouldn't search. Amelia staggered. Someone. Who? Who would do that? The nurse opened her mouth, but fear shut it again. Cole stepped forward, voice low, controlled, terrifying. Who took them? The nurse didn't answer immediately. Instead, she reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a small metal object. Rusted, bent, familiar. A hospital ID tag. Old, child-sized. The name engraved on it was worn, but still legible. Harrington. Cole felt his entire spine go cold. That tag was found in the stairwell, the nurse whispered. Left behind during the struggle. No one noticed its significance then. Your father did, and he hid it. Elena whispered, It wasn't Mom. She didn't even know she had another baby. No, the nurse said. It wasn't her. Her eyes lifted, trembling, to Cole. It was someone else in your family. Cole's voice was a blade. Who? The nurse took a slow breath. The one who was already losing control. The one the hospital staff feared more than anyone. The one your father warned Marianne about in every letter. Cole's heartbeat hammered. No, he whispered. No. The nurse nodded. Yes, Cole. Her voice cracked. It was your grandmother. Silence crushed the room. It wasn't dramatic. It was suffocating. Amelia pressed her back against the nearest wall, as though the truth had physical force. Elena's hand covered her mouth, shaking. Cole looked like he'd been hit, hard, by something he never saw coming. My grandmother died years ago, he whispered. The nurse nodded. And she died without ever confessing what she did. But why? Amelia whispered. Why take a baby? Why take Eve? The nurse wiped a tear. Because your grandmother thought your mother, she nodded at Amelia, was a threat to the Harrington line. She believed Marianne's child would complicate succession. She tried to eliminate the problem. Cole felt sick. Amelia felt hollow. Elena whispered, This can't be real. She couldn't have. She did, the nurse said quietly. I'm sorry. Cole pressed a hand to the desk, knuckles white. So my grandmother stole a baby to protect the family empire, he said. And my father hid it. My mother broke under it. And your mother, he looked at Amelia, survived it. The nurse nodded. Yes. Amelia shook her head, tears burning her vision. All this time. All this grief. And my mother never knew the truth. She knew enough, the nurse said. She knew Eve didn't die naturally. She knew someone took her. She just didn't know who. Or why. Cole stepped closer to Amelia. Slowly, carefully. You weren't the target, he said, voice gentler than she'd ever heard it. You were the accident that saved yourself. Amelia's tears fell silently. My sister, she whispered, has been out there alone her entire life. The nurse nodded, eyes breaking. Yes. Amelia steadied her voice, the grief turning into something sharp. Where is she? The nurse looked at her, trembling. That, I don't know. Cole's jaw clenched. Then who does? The nurse hesitated. Her eyes flicked toward the window. They're already watching, she whispered. Amelia's blood ran cold. Who? The nurse took a step back. The person who contacted me. The one who told me to come here. The one who smuggled Eve out of the hospital after your grandmother failed. Cole's voice dropped. Who? The nurse swallowed. I don't know their name, she whispered, but I know what they are. Elena's voice was faint. What? The nurse met Cole's eyes, then Amelia's. They're the only Harrington who ever defied your grandmother. Cole's breath hitched. Amelia stared. The nurse stepped back toward the door. Find the one who left, she whispered. Find the Harrington who walked away from the fortune. The one no one speaks of. She turned the handle. The truth didn't start with your parents, she said. It started with the child your grandmother wanted dead. The door shut behind her. For a long, long time, no one spoke. Then Amelia whispered the question that ends the episode. Cole, who in your family disappeared without a trace? Cole closed his eyes and answered in a voice barely above a breath. My uncle.